Hello, my lovely audience. This is take two because a scam just popped up. Yeah, I got called by a scammer. Fun. Anyways, shout out to Johnny Jokester who gave me a third what if to combine with this what if. I was gonna just do two what ifs combined, but now I'm gonna do three. So let's get to the what if because this is awesome. And thank you for all being a part of the stream there for a bit because it was more than my other times. So awesome. Thank you. Alright, so let's get to it. What if Deku was Iron Man? And this was outvoted, but this was more votes for Iron Man than Batman, so this is fun. Anyways, so Deku is going to be quirkless, the only quirkless person in the whole world, and he's also going to be a super genius. At 5, he is actually making weapons, well, more like gear, hero gear for like heroes, but mostly it's all towards All Might, because he's got a huge obsession for All Might. And I would say one of his designs does make it to All Might, and they're like homemade gear, so like stuff that's made from a junkyard. And he's making this stuff, and it's really good. And heroes all over the place are picking it up, and spending money on this, and they want it all. And sooner or later, a company is made. And I would say that when Deku is 6, he is kidnapped by All For One. And All For One, what he does is he pretty much just forces Deku to make hero gear for him. And he does this for a few years, okay? And, well, what ends up happening is this. Around when Deku is 10, that's when All For One gets injured, and Deku realizes this is his chance to get out of here. So he looks up a replacement for his... I didn't get to that. Well, yeah, when he was 6, All For One pushed in one of the metal things that one of his, like, you remember when he was fighting All Might in the anime, and how he had those metal things coming out of him? Yeah, he pushed one of those into Deku's heart, and the doctor was able to quickly heal him up a bit, but take only small pieces out. He left a few pieces in there, and pretty much put a magnet kind of rig up on him, just to keep him alive. So he's got shrapnel in his heart, yes. Anyways, yeah. I'm trying to, like, rush through this like I usually do when I do a take two, sorry. Yeah. He's got shrapnel in his heart, and that's not good. But yeah, he comes up with a plan for a arc reactor for his heart. And first one is really big and powers the, entire warehouse and everything that they're in. And All For One's very pleased with this power source, but at the same time is pissed that he couldn't have some kind of, like, weapon designed to take down, All Might. It's only armor that he's been making and stuff like that. They're not really too much of weapons. It's mostly gear and stuff like that. So what All For One has Deku do is he's going to have him make a weapon. And this weapon's going to be supposedly connected to All For One's Nomu's creation. And Deku knows about the Nomus at this point. He would know definitely about the Nomus. And I'm going to say that Deku, he is going to definitely be doing something awesome here. Now, he's known how to do a few things with machinery for a while now. And he knows how to make things better, if that makes sense. Like, better than his previous creations. And he's made an arc reactor, a smaller one this time. One that can prevent the shrapnel from going into his heart. And this one is going to be made of a special element that is recently discovered that they were able to get their hands on to just power the supposed weapon. And Deku then takes that power source, a piece of it, and he puts it into his, into his chest, and basically creates an arc reactor to put into his chest. He has now got an arc reactor inside of him, keeping the shrapnel out of it, away from his heart. And then comes the machinery. So they basically bring in a bunch of weapons and stuff just so that Deku can create this supposed weapon that's going to be devastating. Now, when Deku's making it, he had to make a lot of this in secret, in parts. And I would say that when Deku is 11, All For One is barely recovering still. He's had it worse than All Might, and obvious reasons. He's been in a coma for a while. And I'm going to say that Deku Yeah, I would say he's got it way worse. So he would be, because All Might would have some protection as well. So yeah, All Might wouldn't be as far off, but he'd be a lot better. All Might would be definitely a lot better. Like, he would have armor that was made by Izuku Midoriya, by Deku, before he got kidnapped as high grade, and was made with his soul. So yeah, but yeah, All Might would definitely be parading with that armor, and it would be really good, but it would be completely destroyed after the battle with All For One, because it would be not able to, handle the amount of power that was coming from it, from him. And yeah, he didn't really get injured too heavily as he is in the anime, but he'd be injured. And I would say his timer is around 3 hours, not 1 hour. And he wouldn't be coughing up blood. His lung would be injured, but not destroyed. So he would be way, way better off. But he still wants to give up his quirk, because he's getting too old for this. So yeah. Now, as for Deku, he's making all these pieces and parts, and I would say that when his day is finally coming around, All For One comes in and asks how it's coming along. And Deku explains that he is making a suit that is going to be perfect for him to use against All Might, and should be ready by a few months, which is a complete lie, because it'll be ready tomorrow. And that's when All For One leaves, and Deku would be then, he would then get into the suit that night, power it up, and all the villains in there would then hear and then boom! A loud explosion roused through the entire warehouse that they are in. And then all the villains are gathering around to where the weapons were being made. And then they see a gigantic behemoth, huge and powerful. And that's when Deku lifts up one of his arms, his left arm, and fires out flames upon the villains, who then get scorched in the fire and run wild, running away. One villain tries to jump in and punches Deku right where the bright light, his arc reactor, is, and it only gets hit with a dunk. And Deku, with his right hand, punches into that villain, knocking him into the walls. And that's when Deku takes out, he uses his right arm and fires a laser, cutting through the entire ceiling and throughout the building, creating a beacon, a red beacon, signaling to all heroes in the vicinity, everywhere. Heroes coming running. And that's when Deku flies out of there, using his powerful legs that are just heavy and huge, and flies out of that place, leaving behind fire and power. Just, if that makes sense. Leaving behind just ash of where the rubble was. And that's when All Might screams. And Hirokiri would immediately then get All Might and the rest of the villains that are still, somewhat alive. Like, some of them are really injured, to safety. And Deku flies out of there, flying straight up into the air, to only get punched by All Might. Going flying through the air, pieces of the suit just falling apart, breaking apart, everything's breaking. And Deku is in the chassis, on the top part where the head is, and the arms and legs are falling apart, they're breaking off. And that's when Deku crashes into a junkyard. Where that beach is, with all the junk. And Deku gets out of the suit and says, "That wasn't too bad." And immediately climbs out and gathers his bearings and quickly gets out of the area, because heroes will show up and he needs to figure out something else. He can't really explain to what is going on. And I would say that is when he would just show up on his mother's door, and she would hug him, saying that he escaped and that he is fine now. And I'm going to say that You know what? No, I'm going to say that he waited there. He was kind of like knocked out from that blow that All Might punched. And I would say All Might would arrive first. And the Nomus would not be there at all, so that's good. But yeah, Deku would wake up in a hospital bed where his mother would walk in and she would see her son laying there in a bed with a few bruises and a few ribs broken. Now, I would say that he would definitely tell the police what happened and all that, and that he was kidnapped by villains to make armor and gear for them, which then the police would say, yeah, that makes sense. There was a lot of villains now with high-tier gear that they didn't know were coming from. So it's good to know that you were actually doing that. And the cops are hesitant to either take him in and arrest him or to leave him be because he was held against his will. The doctors would also look at his heart and say that, and they would definitely remove the arc reactor and get rid of all the shrapnel because that's going to be a problem. But there's one problem. When they were removing the shrapnel, some injured his heart, and it was very bad. And now they tell him that he has a weak heart, and a heart that could be replaced but doesn't need to be. In fact, he could have a great, successful life and be completely fine, but he can't be taking in... You know what? No. I'm going to say that he can't have too much of a rapid heartbeat. Otherwise, it's just going to wear it out for at least a few years. You know what? No. I'm going to say... No, I'm going to say that he got a miraculous recovery because he's still a kid. And kids make crazy recoveries when they're young. So yeah, he'd be fine. They take the shrapnel out and all that. And this is when Deku would be going back to his company and everything, and he would say he's cutting down the funding. He's stopping making hero gear and all that. And now he's going to focus on reliable energy. And that's where he makes another arc reactor. And this time it's a bigger one, powering the entire city and everything. And he's making more money from the government than any other place in the world. And this time, the energy crisis is kind of just stopped, and everybody's buying from Deku. Arc reactors are being sold everywhere. He's making a killing. He's the richest man on the planet, and yet no one knows who the real CEO is, because Deku is considered to be the, not the CEO, but the engineer in front of the population. The CEO is under a strange name called the Iron Man. You know, no, I'm going to say, yeah, under Iron Man, yeah. And no one knows who the Iron Man is. But a few people do, which is his mother, and also, I would say it would also be the police, because it would kind of make sense. Just his mother would know, I guess. Anyways, time for the most fun, and that is this. So Deku gets to work on his next suit, and this one is going to be better because it's going to be fully using the arc reactor that he has made, and he uses it this time. I would say that he has a arc reactor in this suit built in, and it would be kind of like, yeah, it would be built in and then turned on and just kind of work like that. And this suit is, the suitcase suit. And he would be carrying around a suitcase a lot now, and I would say he wouldn't be in school anymore because he's kind of already past that. And he can attend, just he's way too smart. No, I would say he still attends school, but he's very caught up and already highly advanced and doing advanced schooling. So, yeah. I would say that Deku, when he's 15, he's walking home and he's got his suitcase, which acts as a normal suitcase, and, I'm going to say it's a backpack suit, and it's going to look like this. Why not, right? Screw the suitcase suit, let's go with a backpack suit, and this is what it's going to be. Now, yeah, it works like a normal backpack, but it's also a suit, so that's awesome. And it weighs a ton, so there's that. And Deku would definitely be working out a lot just so his body can, that way he can actually do a lot more and lift a lot more when he's making a suit. So yeah. Now time for the fun part. This is where Deku, gets to meet the sludge villain. And I would say when he meets the sludge villain's like, oh, if it ain't the hero, the little hero, or, well, the little engineer, I'm going to enjoy taking over you. And immediately, I would say Deku turns on the suit, well, the whole backpack suit, and immediately, well, takes down the sludge villain. He uses a, well, his hands can actually, I would say, one of the things that his suit can do is has a conductive hands, I guess that makes sense. Like they electrify and shoot out energy in the palms, and not like the repulsor, but just like a taser hand. And he just tases the sludge villain. Like, that would work, right? Like, let's be honest, that would work. And, yeah, takes out the sludge villain immediately. Now, it's time for the fun part where All Might comes in and sees what Deku has done. And immediately recognizes who Deku is. And also says, thanks for the hard work, just don't do it again. You're going to need a hero's license to do that. And, yeah, I would say Bakugo wouldn't also like see him as much after 5 because he would be in high advanced classes and Bakugo wouldn't really be in those. Like, he'd be a smart kid, yes, but he wouldn't be in advanced classes. So Deku would be getting like tutoring lessons and stuff like that. I would say that when Deku, one of his side projects he gets to finally finish. And what is the side project? Well, it's Jarvis. Yeah, we're going there. Yeah, we're adding Jarvis. Why not? Yeah, so he makes Jarvis and uploads him into one of his first suits, and which is literally the backpack suit. And I'm gonna say that Deku, for the months of training, because Deku knows he can become a hero very easily. He wants to become a hero still. That's a burning passion. Owning this company and all that, it's just a side thing for him. He wants to be a hero. And he may be considered a hero in, like, solving the world's energy crisis, but he wants to be an actual hero. And, let's see. For the months of training, he's just working out, and he created Jarvis and uploads him into a suit. And immediately, I would say when he goes to UA, for the test. In the written exam, he aces it and actually corrects some things because he even implements answers that are beyond some kids for even knowing. Like, Deku's like an insane level of knowledge right now. And I'm going to say that Deku, he's beyond smart. He's a star within, like a sun within stars, if that makes sense. Like, he's a brighter star in, like, the entire area, if that makes sense at all. But yeah, and I would say the school has no problem with having Deku participate because he has no quirk, so they kind of want to see how far he would go. Like a billionaire genius doing this, like, come on. It's cool. Anyways, let's see. I'm gonna say that he also, for the practical exam, they would allow him to bring in his backpack, and he would explain what it is, and they'd be like, you know what, you have no quirk, might as well show something. And he only says it's a suit of armor that can transform into a suit of armor. They just don't know what its capabilities are able to do. And immediately, I would say that when the practical exam is about to start, he takes the backpack out, and people are kind of like just looking at him like, what's he gonna do? He's just got muscles a bit, and that's it. Is it some kind of muscle quirk? And people kind of like recognize him a bit. The teachers definitely do. Kids, not so much because they're kids. And then he presses a button on the backpack and immediately it completely just covers his body into a suit of armor. And people just see the most highly tech out suit in the world. And then people are thinking, okay, so is he like able to do something cool with that with his quirk? And people are just saying quirk, 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 quirk this, quirk that, quirk this. And then when the exam starts, Deku flies with the suit. And the teachers are baffled by this, obviously. And yes, the tests for flight would have been hard and would definitely have put a lot of strain on his body because he would have been doing a lot of crash tests. But he had to work through it. Hey, there was no one else that could have worn it, so he was wearing it and he was doing it. So, yeah, fun. Anyways, yeah, Deku would definitely have gone through a lot of pain just to fly. And when he finally flies up, he then spots a few of the robots and some of the zero-pointers. And from his shoulders, he fires out several missiles aimed at the smaller robots and some of the bigger robots. And he fires them all, and they're all laser guided onto the robots. And immediately, all the robots that are the small ones, immediate explosions everywhere. Boom, 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 boom. And then comes in the zero-pointer. It takes a huge hit, leaving a huge impact and a bit of a hole of where the impact was. And I would say Nezu is amazed that someone this smart and highly devastating. I would say that Nezu's even read about Deku and immediately wants Deku to join UA because he is someone like Nezu. He's someone like him. He wants another smart person like him to become like big in this world, maybe even a hero, and just to do something great. He knows that Deku can do something amazing, and he wants that. And he wants to actually have play a game of chess with him too, so there's that. Yeah. I would say that Deku immediately, after destroying a few robots, saving a few few people that are about to be students anyways, and saving Araka from a huge amount of rubble, using and also lifting more than a human should even lift, especially one that's quirkless. And I would say immediately people are amazed. They are all like shouting, "Who is this kid? He's amazing. He's got to be a hero in disguise or something." And he's doing amazing things already. Anyways, yeah. After the whole thing is over, he gets a lot of thanks and like, "Thanks, you saved me there," and all that. And he's taken down, like, I would say, more robots than there should have been. And I would say that one of the teachers comes over and says, "Don't rely on your suit too much. What's your quirk?" And that's when Deku spills the beans. He doesn't have a quirk. And also that this whole test could have been a lot easier. He just chose to play by their rules. If he had it his way, he would have just hacked them all. And I would say a teacher would have laughed, saying, "There's no way you can hack these robots." And immediately he hacks them. And yeah, they're all dancing now. One's like break dancing, and the others are doing some slow dancing because some of them are zero-pointers. And immediately the teacher shuts up, and Nezu would have had Deku being like expelled, but seeing how he takes so much interest in him, he has him come in a day early and explains to him, has him come into UA a day early, explaining that he wants him to join the school and also work on helping the school improve security systems, stuff like that. Seeing that he is able to breach such high securities. And he asked him how long it took him. And I would say Deku would say, "Just a hot minute. I just let my Jarvis do it." And immediately Nezu would ask, "Who's Jarvis?" And he shows Nezu Jarvis, who is an AI. And he gives Jarvis that kind of like globe, icon stuff, and just shows him what he's able to do. And Jarvis speaks through the speakers and explains to Nezu that he was designed to assist Deku in his daily life and everything. And yeah, that's when they I would say that's when, that's not so much when Deku gets admitted into UA immediately. And Nezu has him, gets everything for him, even a lab for him to work in, and lets him have access to the R&D department to make more gear and stuff like that if he ever wants to. Like makes anything for his suits or anything. And has him also upgrade the security systems in UA. And even a silent alarm too, which is awesome because that's going to be needed. So yeah, Nezu pretty much is a huge fan of Deku already. And that very much impresses Deku and Nezu. You know what I mean. Nezu's impressed and loves Deku for this. So yeah, I'm going to leave it off here. Have a good day and a good night. Hope you enjoyed.